Forget what the globalists driving us all headlong into a hell pit have to say. We are most certainly at war. Shocking rhetoric?
If it's a world war, then you have to mobilize NATO. You have to get all the NATO countries to say, we are going to commit forces, both ground and air, to wipe ISIS off the face of the earth.
We're supporting NATO, and we should at least get something out of it, and getting rid of ISIS and getting rid of this cancer that we're watching all over the world, that certainly would be a good thing.
Western civilization is in a war. We should, frankly, test every person from here who is of a Muslim background, and if they believe in Sharia, they should be deported.
And if you are a believing Muslim, you believe that no man-made law, which is what they consider the Constitution, no man-made law can be above Sharia law.
However, globalists like French President Francois Hollande and U.S. President Barack Obama would have us all behave as sitting ducks, just fodder for the revolving door of repackaged horror, blaming the carnage on lone wolf attacks and controlling the narrative right down to the very language we are allowed to use as we all face certain doom.
Terrorist, because that's the event. Now notice over here,
Muslims are not terrorists.
The Hollande and Merkel, their jizya, their bride price for continuing in power under the new caliphate is to betray their own people, to lie to about their own people and to their own people.
That's right. So they've, in fact, they've had the meetings where they say, you've got to give us cover for our jihad. We want to see you let us do this. Just like a gang member to be initiated has got to go kill an old lady for no reason. This is literally a gang initiation.
Well, this is a gang initiation where the leaders of Europe are lying to their own people, and they know they're lying to their own people. This is their bride price, their jizya tax for becoming safe dhimmis and keeping their power. Now, some of them might just out and out say, I converted long ago, I'm a Muslim, fooled you. Or they might say, as long as I keep my palace and my villa and my estate, I don't really care. But their bride price, their jizya tax, is to sell out their own people.
The narrative has to change, or more innocent people will certainly die. Anthony Frieda writes, perhaps instead of lying after every act of jihad and saying that Islam is a religion of peace and that terrorists are perverting Islam, Obama and his cohorts should tell the truth and express the fact that these horrific acts are sanctioned by Islamic dogma. At least 84 dead in Nice, France, after a Tunisian living in France rented a 19-ton refrigerated truck that he used to kill at least 84 people and critically injure 50 more. 10 of those killed were children. All of this on Bastille Day, the French independence holiday. The irony in this attack is probably lost on most people, because most people can't see from the jihadist perspective. The attack in Nice was an expression of the coming caliphate's own independence.
Bad ideology beats no ideology. Even an evil, bad cult beats secular nothingness and nihilism.
That's right.
The postmodern nihilistic, all things are the same. There's no good. There's no bad. That means Islam wins, because
don't we need a new crusade? I mean, the Crusade's got a dirty name, but we were attacked for 400 years before we went in there and kicked their ass. And I'm sorry, if they want one. And this time we want to attack countries that are moderate. Saudi Arabia and all these other jihad centers, they want to fight. They need to really get one.
Well, the good thing is that we have this constitution, so we have at least a legal trench line to fight in, which is that our constitution is above Sharia law. And anybody who says, for example, Hillary Clinton, she wants to pass this thing called UN Resolution 1618, which outlaws blasphemy against Islam. Like Obama said, the future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet.
And that's why the internet now won't let you criticize Islam, enemy, because that's blasphemy. Gone is our First Amendment.
Well, that's Sharia. That's submission to Sharia.
And even the true atrocity of the attacks themselves have been scrubbed as not to offend the Muslims, and more importantly, not to push the growing worldwide populist movement over the edge. Paul Joseph Watson writes, There are newly released documents from a parliamentary inquiry into the November 13th ISIS massacre in Paris that claimed the lives of 130 people. The documents discuss reports of how some Bataclan victims had their testicles cut off and stuffed in their mouth, a common atrocity committed by jihadist militants across the Middle East. Other victims were gutted or decapitated, while others had their eyes gouged out as Islamicists filmed the gruesome scenes. How much longer can we endure this jihad by immigration, this attack on free speech by the tech world, this collusion of globalist collapse strategy with our own federal government as a one-sided war ramps up on all of us, regardless of your race, political views, or social standing? How much horror can we endure before we finally wrestle the deceptive narrative back to the foxhole of truth? Make no mistake about it. Treason stinks to high heaven, and we are most certainly at war. John Bound for Infowars.com.